Kalthoff, and we're in our Happy Stampers group. This is a group especially for my customers and for anyone else that's kind of a big fan. What I do is, this is a group where I can actually put up PDFs, I can do some special videos, which is what this is, just some little extra things for people who are my customers or people who are big fans and like being part of my group on Facebook. And so that's what this is. Welcome. I am going to share with you a quick tip today about how not to lose your die cuts. I'm going to have to flip the camera down here in just a second, but just making sure I'm on and everything's looking good. Yay, we have some viewers. Thank you. So let me go ahead and I'll flip the camera down because I want to keep this video really short and I just kind of want to get to the meat of what I want to talk about. So give me a second. And I want to share with you that I use the Stampin storage magnets, and this keeps my dies all together. So when I'm using my Big Shot machine, I just, take the dies on and off right here. And a lot of times I'm using the magnetic platform, and so my dies are sticking anyway to the magnetic platform. So I typically don't have a problem with losing my dies because of this magnetic sheet that I'm already using. However, where I do run into problems, and I'm assuming maybe you do too, is when you get your Big Shot die brush out to take all those little pieces out. So for example, some of the dies, you can just pop them out with your fingers, no big deal, and then the little magnetic, or the little, I don't even know what this is made out of, little steel die can go right back onto your magnetic thing and you never have to worry about losing it. This is where I get into trouble. I keep my Big Shot die brush and my Big Shot die mat in a paper pumpkin box, and that way it's really handy, and you can see that I go like this. And this takes out the little pieces that I'm working with. Well, then what I do is I grab these little pieces and I run over to my craft table, and then I put, where I'm crafting, and then I put those down, and then I might run back and I'll grab something else, take it out. And sometimes I take the die with me. Sometimes I just move it out of the way and start immediately going to my next project. And so just as an example, just showing you what I do. Sometimes I just leave these in here. Okay, guess what? I ran into some trouble with that, and I have through the years, and it's always been something that I've tried to be careful and look after, but sometimes I go like this. I'm sure all of you do this too. So I'm taking all those little chads and everything else off, and I'm just, going like this, and down into the box it goes. And then I maybe sometimes miss a little die at the bottom of the box, and I've actually had this happen and it gets tossed. And that's really, really sad. I hate it when that happens. And so what you want to do is, let me show you what I'm going to do. Let me get this out of here so I actually do not lose it. What I'm going to do is set this aside for a second. I'm going to grab one of these magnetic sheets, and honestly, you don't even have to necessarily have a magnetic sheet. What you could do is just, those big refrigerator magnets that might have the calendar on, or whatever you want to do, you could actually put that into your Big Shot box too. So my Big Shot die brush box is just an inside-out paper pumpkin box. And so whatever it is you use, whether it's a shoe box or whatever, typically we put these in a box so that we have all of our little pieces in here and they're not scattered all over our desk and on the floor. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tear and tape, and I did start this, and that's when I thought, oh, I'm not going to do this all. I'll wait and do this in my Happy Stampers group. So that's what I'm doing today. So we're just going to set this in here, and I want it to be pretty secure. Now this tape is super strong, so for those of you that have never used this tape, you're going to be very impressed. Not only is it super strong, but it's really awesome in that you can tear it without having to have a special scissors to cut through it. Really, really good tape. Then I just like to take my bone folder and just burnish it down so it really adheres well. And then I'm going to pull these adhesive backings up. And then we're going to set this into the top lid of our Big Shot die box. And that is what I'm so excited about, because it's going to keep me from losing those little tiny framelets. In fact, let me grab a scissors here so I can get these off a little quicker. And you know, maybe some of you already have worked this out, but you know, I've been using the Big Shot machine ever since 2008. And then I'm not sure exactly when it was that they introduced the die brush, but I feel like it was about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's kind of when I started running into trouble. I mean, I always was using my inside out paper pumpkin box, and I always felt pretty confident that I was, you know, keeping everything nice and clean, and I was pretty careful to check to make sure before I threw anything out that I wasn't throwing dies. But once in a while this gets really piled full, and then once in a while there's that little bitty die that gets away on you. So now I've got this all ready to go, and I'm going to put it up here into this corner of my paper pumpkin box. I'm going to just press that in. Oh wow, it looks like it holds really, really well. Okay, let's make sure this works. So I'm going to put this back in here. And so when I get done doing this, instead of just leaving it here where it can accidentally get into the base of the box, I'm going to set it up here. And the same with all of the other dies that I am using with relation to this box. So I keep my little brush here, my little foam pad here, and then I can throw my little extras up here. So that is what I'm doing to make sure that I'm not losing dies in with all my little chads. So I hope that's helped you. Wow, that's really strong. So I could even shut the box if I want to, and these will not fall down. So that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to share that really quick little tip. Thank you, you guys.